The onlookers watch in disbelief, stunned that Shadow's single strike was so powerful it instantly pushed the boss into Phase 2 without giving it a chance to react. Some doubt what they just saw, questioning if it was really Shadow who did it since the opponent was a Titanium tier boss. But others insist they witnessed everything from start to finish. The Steel Saintess had been summoned by the Knights Sanctum Guild, yet Shadow appeared out of nowhere, destroyed the entire guild, and then unleashed one skill that cut the boss's health in half. The crowd continues murmuring, overwhelmed by the scene. Amid their disbelief, Shadow stands silently, his figure steady against the monstrous boss towering before him. The Steel Saintess enters her second phase, her presence radiating menace, but Shadow remains calm and observant. He recognizes her flaw despite her overwhelming power. There is a moment of vulnerability. In Phase 2, whenever she launches an attack, her reflect damage effect temporarily vanishes, creating an opening that can be exploited. Shadow analyzes the Steel Saintess carefully. He realizes that if he strikes while she's attacking, he can avoid the reflect damage. However, many of his strongest skills like Shadow Slash, Slit Throat, Plague Blade, and Poison Dagger are damage over time abilities. Using them would still trigger the reflect effect, and with his current stats, the backlash could kill him instantly. His eyes shift to the players watching from above. They've been lingering there for a while, and he begins to consider how he might use them to his advantage. Among the spectators, one of the men pushes forward, telling the others to step aside so he can get a clear view of the situation. The group looks at him in surprise, not expecting him to speak up. Suddenly, a man clad in armor with a commanding presence appears before them. The group calls out in relief, recognizing him as Big Bro Safety. His arrival brings a sense of confidence and authority to the tense atmosphere. The players discuss what they've seen. They explain that after the boss's health dropped to half, it froze and began transforming, signaling a new phase. They add that Shadow vanished right after it entered Phase 2. Big Bro Safety processes the information, realizing Shadow had been fighting the boss alone before disappearing. He orders Xiaomato to activate Red Eye and confirm if Shadow is still nearby. Xiaomato responds immediately, unleashing a glowing green detection skill. A small creature appears within the light, its sharp eyes scanning the area for Shadow's presence. The scan reaches the battlefield where the Steel Saintess looms, her massive frame radiating menace. The detection beast charges forward, ready to locate Shadow's position as the boss prepares for its next move. Xiaodu reports back there's no trace of Shadow. Big Bro Safety concludes that if even a level 3 anti-stealth skill couldn't detect him, then Shadow must have already left. They dismiss the idea of him having level 4 stealth as impossible. Just as the group settles on that thought, Xiaodu suddenly senses something unusual, her expression tightening as if she's picked up on a faint presence. Big Bro Safety, unfazed, instructs Xiaodu to stay vigilant. He orders her to alert him immediately if Shadow reappears. She agrees, though still unsettled, realizing her brother is preparing for something serious. On the battlefield, the massive Steel Saintess looms over a lone figure. The spectators watching from afar can hardly believe what they're seeing. Someone is facing the Titanium tier boss alone. One of them narrows his eyes, realizing he's seen this mysterious figure before. The crowd recognizes the warrior. It's the top tier player known as Safety First. His class is Soul Warrior, a rare type with a skill that grants him a perfect dodge during rolls. Rumors even say he was once a world-class player in Soul-type games, and his movements now prove that reputation true. The Steel Saintess locks onto him, her glowing red eyes narrowing as she prepares another devastating attack. With her massive weapon raised high, the boss brings it crashing down with overwhelming force, aiming to crush Safety First in one blow. But Safety First remains calm and focused, his sharp gaze tracking every movement. As the colossal blade descends, he positions himself perfectly, ready to evade with precision timing. The Steel Saintess's massive weapon crashes down, but Safety First swiftly rolls out of the way. He shouts with excitement, almost mocking the boss, as debris flies around him. The boss retaliates, its twisted black arms surging with energy as it prepares another strike. Safety First narrowly dodges again, his movements quick and precise. The claws tear into the ground where he stood only a second earlier. He continues to roll across the battlefield with flawless timing, dodging attack after attack. Each time he avoids a blow, he shouts "Yahoo!" with confidence, showing no fear even against a titanium tier boss. The spectators cheer wildly, impressed by Safety First's performance. They marvel at his flawless rolls, never overextending, always maintaining control, calling him calm, precise, and unbelievably cool. Others watch closely, noting that he dodges every single boss attack with perfection. But something strange catches their attention. The boss's health keeps dropping each time he rolls. They even notice slash effects appearing on the Steel Saintess, wondering if a soul warrior could really be this powerful. Zioadu smirks with confidence, explaining that perfect dodging is only the beginning. The true strength of Big Bro Safety lies not in defense, but in his offensive power. On the battlefield, Safety First demonstrates this point. Each time he rolls to dodge, he seamlessly transitions into a counterattack, striking the Steel Saintess while avoiding her blows, proving the real depth of his skill. Excitement flashes across Zioadu's face as she explains that Safety First's next strike will ignore half of the enemy's defense, making it devastatingly powerful. Safety First gathers energy, his body surrounded by blue lightning as he charges forward. With a fierce expression, he prepares to unleash his attack, shouting his challenge to the Steel Saintess. The onlookers are blown away by the spectacle. They gasp at the dazzling effect of his skill, guessing it must deal well over 1,000 points of damage. Safety First swings his blade with a confident grin, channeling the full force of his charged ability into a single decisive strike aimed directly at the boss. Safety First unleashes a devastating strike. His sword splits into 3 shadows, each one swift and sharp, flying toward the Steel Saintess like shooting stars. The blow lands with pinpoint precision. His energy builds up and erupts into a clean execution strike and attack meant to end the battle in one decisive moment. The spectators cheer loudly as they notice the effect of the skill. Without even realizing it, the Steel Saintess's health has already dropped to 1/3, leaving everyone stunned at how fast her HP was shredded. Safety First stands tall, his aura blazing as he declares his technique Shadow Moon Gap, the sword style that defines his strength, shaking both allies and enemies with its overwhelming force. Safety First smirks confidently as his blade glows, ready to unleash another devastating attack. But the moment his strike lands, the reflected damage surges back at him. Numbers flash across his body as over 1,000 points of damage hit him at once, overwhelming him instantly. The spectators cry out in shock, their faces frozen in disbelief as they watch Big Bro Safety collapse. Confusion spreads among the group. They can't understand why he died despite dodging every attack, or why the boss's health didn't drop after his strike. Yet at the same time, they noticed that the Steel Saintess had suddenly lost a huge chunk of HP, leaving them baffled by the contradiction. From the shadows, the cloaked figure reappears. Thanks to Safety First's reckless display, the Steel Saintess had been forced to use multiple skills, creating the perfect opening. While all eyes were on Safety First, Shadow had been striking continuously in secret, slowly grinding the boss's HP down. By the time the dust settled, the Steel Saintess was already at 1/3 health. He calmly observes the battlefield, noting how the Soul Warrior's damage output was decent, but his class simply couldn't survive against reflected damage. Shadow concludes that the Soul Warrior was doomed from the start. His class prevented him from attacking during rolls, and when he did attack, the reflect effect guaranteed his downfall, a tragic mismatch against the Steel Saintess. The Steel Saintess suddenly turns around, its piercing eyes locking onto Shadow, finally noticing his presence after his hidden strikes. Shadow realizes the danger the boss, now low on HP, is trying to retreat back to the church sanctum. If it makes it there, it will fully recover, and all their efforts will have been wasted. He notes how the Soul Warrior's death has terrified the others, leaving no one else willing to step in. Worse, since the boss isn't attacking, its reflect damage effect remains constant, giving him no easy opening. With sharp resolve in his eyes, Shadow mutters that there's no choice left. If he wants to finish this fight, he'll have to confront the Steel Saintess head-on.
This is the end of the video. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe and like the video.